Well, as far as the S&P 500 goes, we are back to January 1st of 2021, essentially. So we've lost over a year and a half worth of value, I guess, in the stock market, but I guess that's not too surprising considering the government was buying up all kinds of bad debt and propping up the market and obviously putting all kinds of money in the circulation. So today we're going to talk about a lot of things. We're going to talk about the overall market. I'm going to go kind of into a little bit of a rant about the job situation and some things that I'm seeing street level wise as far as this recession goes. And I'm also going to talk about the NFT market. And just I want to make you guys realize that things are so far out of whack still. Things are still very, very, very elevated, but it is collapsing real time and people are falling and shattering their kneecaps. So, first and foremost, talk about the stock market. Do not see things getting better anytime soon. Now, could the government print a bunch more money, buy up the bad debt, kind of kick the can further down the road? Absolutely, and they will do variations of that. I think that there's going to be things like the first time home buyers tax credit will come back eventually, probably in a couple years when real estate collapses. I think stuff like cash for clunkers, they're going to push this whole electric car situation. And a lot of people, obviously think that the electric cars are good for the environment and stuff like that. And I'm not opposed to kind of the premise of an electric hybrid system or electric kind of power systems. But one of the issues is there's only a couple lithium mines in the United States for the most part. Supposedly uncovered some new lithium and stuff in the Salton Sea area, but that is yet to be harvested. So we'll kind of see with that. But a lot of the lithium comes from China. And electric vehicles are extremely, extremely heavy. So energy does not come from anywhere. And when you are pulling a heavy vehicle, it does take a lot of energy. And where's that electricity coming from? Is it hydroelectric, or is it likely burning natural gas or coal or some other mechanism? So I don't know. There's advantages and disadvantages to that system, but it is not these electric cars and stuff like that. There's only, kind of so much you can kind of do with it. You can't get energy out of nowhere. So that's an issue. And that's obviously this narrative that has been pushed very, very hard here recently. But it is not necessarily better for the environment. I think that a lot of people watching this channel, I think that a lot of people probably know that. And but there are a lot of people that would harp on the Bentley right there because it weighs over 6,000 pounds. That's a 12-cylinder engine in it, and that's not very fuel efficient. And out here in California, we are paying almost $7 a gallon for the 91 octane, which I think it's kind of weird that there's not 93 octane. I know what this 91 octane deal is, but I do feel like that car runs better if there is 93 octane. That's a little side note. Not sure what the deal with that is, but I think that eventually there will be these incentives and everything that the government is going to push to incentivize electric cars, and they'll try to do away with all these, a lot of these gasoline engines. And they've already done that in California with weed eaters and stuff like that. You're not supposed to sell like new weed eaters and like lawnmowers that are gas powered. They want it to go electric. But again, you've got this battery issue with the lithium situation. We're not harvesting the lithium. It's kind of like, the situation with the oil. It's one of the reasons why maybe it's, costing us more for gas. Gas prices are way up out here. Is probably because they're not buying it from Russia. Russia's selling it to China, and then we're buying it back from China at a higher price. I mean, this stuff's just clown world stuff. You almost can't even make this stuff up. It's gotten so stupid. So one of the reasons I'm saying stuff is so out of whack is like there becomes a point where people just kind of can't pay that. At this point, people are still sort of paying it and moving around to some respect. There becomes a point where they won't be able to move around. They're not going to be able to put gas in the car. Things are going to get so bad. People are going to clench up their spending. The gas price will likely go down just because, there's going to be more of a supply than there is of a demand if people are getting all laid off and they're just kind of stuck sort of sitting at home or whatever they're going to be doing. So that's another thing that I wanted to hit on. So I had previously kind of mentioned that I'd gotten on this stuff, to review it and everything. I wanted to review Instacart. I wanted to review Walmart Spark app, which is kind of like an Instacart thing. And I wanted to do Turo, different things like that. Nothing has really kind of went according to plan. I've either been put on wait list for certain things. With the Instawork thing, something did pop up actually at Dodger Stadium, which is 20 miles away from where I'm at right here. But it was kind of unfortunate because for whatever reason, it kept trying to say, hey, you're too far away. You can't take this. You're too far away. So I tried to get closer, which I'm about 20 miles away right now. Ain't gonna work out, but I still couldn't take it. So what does that kind of tell us? And it's not necessarily, I'm not trying to harp on this Instawork or these various gig apps and stuff like that, but I just think that they've got an oversupply of workers, people jumping on this stuff, trying to pick up a little bit of work here and there. And it's to a point where I really can't review this stuff, but that's another thing is like just being on Indeed and just kind of like initially I had sort of seen some stuff pop up and I clicked on it to apply to it, and then more and more stuff started popping up, so I kept applying. I kind of like changed some stuff on my resume, kind of like updated that, and then just kept like applying, and then it's just kind of fast forward probably more than a month of actually initially doing that, and I still haven't picked up any work, nothing. And that kind of tells you, I've got 2 bachelor's degrees. I'm well equipped to do a lot of different things, whether that's network administration, computer programming. I can be a college coach, whether that's be strength and conditioning, track and field, baseball. I mean, I could coach a lot of different things. And I have experience doing that. But I've not been able to pick up any of that. Try to do substitute teaching. They were saying it's $250 an hour or $250 a day, like in Santa Clarita and some of these other places like San Bernardino and these different places. Have not been able to pick up that because I'm not vaccinated. So again, for one reason or another, you're kind of running into all these hurdles. And if I'm running into these hurdles, that's pretty shocking. That's a telling sign. And, at the end of the day, I mean, I'm going to be okay. I own that car and have another car, own those all cash and stuff like that. So I'm going to be okay. But what about the person who was sort of maybe wasn't as highly educated, didn't have as much experience, and is just trying to pick up some extra work that might even be work that you don't necessarily have to be qualified that much for? They can't pick up anything. I can tell you that right now. They're going to have a very, very, very hard time kind of picking up any kind of work at this point. And I just think that situation is going to get worse. I think a lot of these companies, since so much wealth has been kind of like erased from some of these companies, or at least perceived wealth on paper, you run into the situation where people start to clinch up. The people who are invested in those companies start to clinch up. Everybody stops their spending. They don't have the money to buy inventory. They don't have the money to do this. They don't have money to operate. And then it just becomes to where you're trying to batten down the hatches and you're not trying to, spend money. You're trying to like not throw good money after bad, essentially. As this goes on, more and more stuff a lot of times what happens with markets is actually they'll drop below kind of like where they should have been. It'll snap below the mean, and then it'll maybe snap back to the mean kind of thing. And what I'm trying to explain there is, like, when you look at cryptocurrencies, usually there's an extended period of time where there's like extreme pain, where all the miners are unprofitable. In real estate, there was extreme pain the last real estate crash, to a point where people were just kind of out of money. People didn't have money to like scoop up some of the good, even if they felt like, well, that's a really good deal, you know, somebody could really kind of take advantage of these, and you know, in 5-10 years they're really going to come out on top. They didn't have the money to act, so you got to be in a position to act. And one thing that I want to kind of finish up with in this video is the NFT market and how far out of whack it is. So Bored Ape Yacht Club, the floor price is around like $106,000 for a pixelated ape, and that's kind of telling that stuff's way out of whack, way out of whack. There was like 10,000 of those minted, so you have to, at some point, some of these people are going to be forced to sell, and then the floor level drop. So over the next year, you're going to see that erode away. I can guarantee it. And like a Neo Tokyo Citizen is still like $10,000. Well, what can you do with these? What can you do with a Bored Ape? And what can you do with a Neo Tokyo Citizen? Are you able to run around in some kind of metaverse and be able to kind of earn more money and this and that? Ugh, I mean, that's a stretch, very big stretch. And so a lot of this stuff that was deployed on these blockchains that aren't even capable of doing what they say that they're trying to do, it doesn't really sit very well with me. And then when I see this stuff still elevated, it just kind of goes to show you that there hasn't been that kind of pain. Even in the Bitcoin mining, and Ethereum mining has obviously changed because it just changed the proof of stake. But typically with Bitcoin mining, you're going to have months and months, period of time where miners are losing money and they're going broke and they're having to file for bankruptcy and they're having to offload their machines, which then actually kind of like makes the situation that much worse. Got this dude just flying around here, man, like he's on a mission. It's crazy stuff. He's squealing those tires. So everybody's in a rush, everybody's stressed out. To my point. So but yeah, you're gonna have an extended period of time where people are gonna be like, they're gonna be very unprofitable on their mining situation with Bitcoin, and we have not really seen that yet. And one of the things too that you're going to see, these various different things have to happen. You've got to get the NFT market, and volumes are down 98%, in the NFT market, but that being said, has not gotten crushed the way it needs to be crushed or the way it is going to be crushed, because there's little to no value in most of the NFT collections. It's one thing if it's like something that you can use in a game, and then in that game you can actually like sort of like level up and make more money and stuff like that, but most of the stuff isn't that. It's just this replication. It's this kind of fame hopping, sort of this jump on this little trend or something. A lot of this stuff, these metaverses, I mean, to what regard are they ever going to get to a point where they can actually be something? Again, stuff that built on Ethereum, it's still not ready. It's like 12-second block times on Ethereum still. That's not fast enough. That's not even close. It's just not even close, and that's why a lot of this stuff gets annoying to me. I want to see a real product built on a blockchain that's capable of handling it. And the unfortunate thing is a lot of the stuff that's been able to handle it, there's been advantages and disadvantages of that. Obviously, Solana can handle it, but they keep kind of shutting that thing down. It seems pretty centralized, from that regard. But it does have 0.4 second block times. It can handle it. And a lot of the NFT sort of activity has kind of gravitated over to Solana. So it is making some progress there, and it might not be the worst investment to buy Solana. But that being said, there's just still a lot of stuff that's way out of whack. I'm sorry. You're going to pay $106,000 for something that's supposedly rare and is going to do something and show ownership, and you're in this club, but you can't really do anything with it, and there's 10,000 of them, and then they have the Mutant Ape Club, and then they have all this other stuff too. It's just missing me, I guess. But that is going to come down. Guys like Michael Saylor, they're going to get liquidated. And, you're just going to see this happen over the next year and a half. And then you're going to get to a situation where all these miners, except very few that have maybe like under 4 cents a kilowatt hour power, but probably 2 cents a kilowatt hour power, are really going to be the only ones that are even treading water. Most of And you got to see the difficulty on the Bitcoin network's got to drop for a significant amount of time, because so many people just cannot afford to run the machines. And all this is going to be amplified because we're going into a potential depression. I hate to just keep harping on this, guys, but this isn't stuff that I was talking about 3-4 years ago. I'm not Peter Schiff, who just like repeats this stuff over and over and over again until it comes true one day, and then he points at the thing and says, see, I told you so, I told you so. No, I'm saying it now, and I'm seeing the signs, real world, and experiencing it in a real time, the situation. I just don't see any way out of this, because the problem is the government, let's say they hand out some more free money, which is just kicking the can down the road, but then that's inflation, and then to fight the inflation you have to raise interest rates. So it's like battling each other back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, which is going to kick the can. It's going to elongate this thing. It's talking a solid year, solid 3-4 years to really kind of get to the bottom of something that's an illiquid market like real estate. Oh, it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. And you don't want to be sitting around kind of like, well, when that comes, there's going to be good opportunities and stuff like that. 3 or 4 years of your life is a significant fraction of your life. So you can't really just like sit around and do nothing. You've got to come up with ways. And honestly, the best way that I'm seeing right now is betting against the U.S. stock market. I just don't see any way for it to really kind of come out of it, because there's going to be so much resistance against printing more money to buy up bad debt of these zombie companies. It's like gigs up. You've already done that. You just did that. You extended this thing. You just did that. So I don't know. I need to get in position, put some way out of the money, put options in this thing, and it's something I've kind of lollygagged around on, but let's focus on other things, and we're gonna get to it. So anyway, guys, thanks for listening to the video, and please like this video. That is free to like this video. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel and follow me on all social media at Brian Phobos, YouTube, Instagram, Steam, and Twitter, Hive, DTube, everywhere.